Hello everybody, Tom here. In this video I want to show you how to set up your environment to work in Godot and Visual Studio Community 2022 using C# language. So, when I started to work on my second game from 20 Games Challenge, I stumbled upon issues with debugging my project and decided to record how to set up environment with Godot, C# and Visual Studio Community 2022 with console. We start this process with downloading .NET SDK from Microsoft website. All the links used in this video will be in the description right below subscribe button, and then installing it. To check if the installation of the SDK succeeded, open the console and type .NET-version. If everything succeeded, then we can start preparing Visual Studio Community 2022. Our next step is to again go to Microsoft website and choose one of the three IDEs. We can go with either Visual Studio Community or Visual Studio Code. Both can work with Godot and C#, but in this video I will show you only the Visual Studio Community setup process. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in the Visual Studio Code setup guide. The download process here is very fast, but unfortunately it's not over. What we downloaded is only a Visual Studio installer. When we open it, the installation launcher starts and we have to choose which modules we want to install. Visual Studio Community can be used also for different programming tasks to develop games with Godot. The most important are .NET Desktop Development and Desktop Development with C++. So these are the ones we choose. Then you click install and wait. It can take some time because there are a lot of gigabytes to download. So in the meantime, we can download the Godot engine from their website. On the home page, we click Download Latest, and then we have to remember to choose the second option, described as .NET, because otherwise we won't be able to use C#. After that, we have to unpack the downloaded zip file, and I suggest doing it somewhere where it will be easy to find. So, when Visual Studio and Godot are already downloaded, then we can open Godot and set up Visual Studio as an external code editor. To do it, we go to Editor, Editor Settings. It is very important to toggle Advanced Settings in the upper right corner. Then, in the window on the left, we have to look for .NET Settings, choose Editor, and then in External Editor dropdown, look for Visual Studio. Next, in Custom Exec Path, we have to provide a path for Visual Studio executable. If you didn't change anything during installation, you should find it in Program Files, Microsoft Visual Studio, 2022, Community, Command 7, IDE, and choose dev.env.exe. Now let's check if the external editor works. We can add a simple node and click Attach Script. Be sure to choose language as C# and click Create. The scroll icon should show next to our node. We can click it and Visual Studio will open. To not go back to Godot in a minute, we have to save our newly created scene and set it as a main scene, the one which will show up on the start debugging process. To do so, go to Project, Project Settings. In the window on the left, look for Application and Run section. Here we set our only scene as a main. Next, in the Visual Studio, let's just write a simple method to print a message. Then we add a breakpoint in both of them, and if we hit a debug button, nothing will happen, and we'll get an error as well. Why so? Because we didn't connect Visual Studio to Godot engine yet. To do it, we have to click this small triangle next to the debugging button. Then we go to Debug Properties and create new profiles. Why plural? Because I couldn't find a reasonable solution with a single profile to have both console logs and debugging. Let's start with the debug option. Remember when I said that it would be good to unpack downloaded Godot zip in a place we will able to find easily? Here in executable, we have to point out to Godot executable, the one without console suffix, add a few commands which you can find in the description of this video as well, add to the working directory a dot, and enable native code debugging. Having it done, we can check if our debugging is working correctly by choosing our newly created profile and clicking F5. And as you can see, debugging is working great. Now, for me sometimes it's easier to understand what is going on within my code using console logs. And to do that, we have to create a separate debugging profile. It is almost identical to what we already created, but the difference is that in this profile we are pointing to the Godot executable with console suffix. Now, one more time, we can check if the debugging is working. So, change our profile and we can click F5. What we can observe is that now we don't have a debugging option, but we have a second window opened with console logs. And that's it for today, guys. If you want to check how my first struggles with 20 games challenge and Godot looked like, you can check out this video. See ya!